Hey everyone, today is bittersweet. It's the last video of the 21-day, not quite SuperMoms of the Bible study, but we are going to talk about a really special lady today. In fact, this chapter, the Shunammite woman, was a last-minute addition to the book. The book had been slated to have 20 chapters, and at the last minute, I decided to add this 21st chapter because I had heard 2 messages or more about this lady leading up to the finishing of the book, and I just really felt like there was so much. She is a well of lessons for us, and so I didn't want to leave her out. I felt like she was super important. There's, like I said, so many lessons: hospitality, giving, and then miracles. And so I don't know where you're at or what your house is like. If I turned this camera around, which I will not do, you would see piles of laundry, and I'm literally sitting by my daughter's hairbrush, and it's all around me because we had a yard sale today and it was just crazy. My house is not always clean. That's what I'm trying to get at. If you were to come knock on my door today, I would literally welcome you in and give you a big old hug, but I would be like, don't look at my mess, because that's really what it is. And I'm not even one of those people who's like saying that, but really it's spotless. No, it really is not spotless. We have a dog, and the dog tracks in dirt. And anyway, the point is, regardless, this lady made Elisha feel at home in her house. So much so that she actually asked her husband if they could build him, Elisha, a little house of his own, like a little mother-in-law kind of place where he could sleep, and when he was in town. And so that is a ministry. Hospitality is a ministry. And if you are like, well, I can't sing in church or play an instrument, and I'm not going to preach, and I'm not going to lead a Bible study or a life group or a Sunday school class or whatever it is, okay, but maybe you can make a meal. Maybe you can make muffins and invite some moms over for muffins and just say, I just wanted to give you a little break from the routine. Just let the kids play. I know. But still, hospitality can be a ministry, and you're probably way better at it than you think you are. But then moving on. So Elisha wanted to do something for this lady, and he was a man, so he probably wasn't really thinking, like the details, I'm not bashing, I'm just saying, like, we think of details. Women, moms, we think of details, okay? And so he asked his assistant for advice on what to give this lady, like flowers, chocolate, no. What could he give her to thank her for everything? And his assistant was like, well, I don't think she has any kids. See, yeah. It's a big one. That wasn't just flowers or a nice, plant for her front yard. That's a big one. But Elisha didn't even flinch. He went straight to her, because here's the thing. It wasn't in his power. It was in God's power. And he knew if he asked God, that God would do it. He had confidence in God. But we're going to see, or you saw from reading the chapter and reading the verses in the Bible, that she didn't have that kind of confidence. And she almost got mad at Elisha for bringing it up. And I've been there, not with that same situation as far as not having any children, but I have been there in other situations. Don't even bring it up. I don't want to worry about that I don't want to think about it. I don't want to hope for it. I don't want to dream for it anymore. Those dreams are dead. That's what those are. And, but Elisha was like, in a year, you're going to have a baby. I mean, what kind of statement? That was the kind of statement that believed in a miracle working God. That's what that is. And, you know, his words, like I said in the chapter, his words meant she had reason to believe again. And let me be the one to tell you, whatever it is you're believing for, you have reason to believe again. You do. I don't know how long it's been since you even dusted off those dreams or those prayers, but you have reason to believe because we serve a miracle working God who brings the dead back to life, who breathes life into wombs, who changes entire stories, changes them. That's who we serve. So, Mama, I want you to sit back, close your eyes, and dream of the one thing you've been asking God for again. Take it out, dream again, believe again, dust it off, pour it at his feet again, and watch him do a miracle. It may not look like what you're expecting or hoping for, but it will be a miracle. Now, there is always exposure. We don't like to exercise our faith muscles that I talk about later in the chapter. That's hard. I mean, I'll be the first to tell you that living by faith is not an easy road, because it's a constant fight against like what your mind tells you is real or true, facts, reality, and what God is saying, yeah, but believe me. That's the faith exercise. And so we're constantly having to put ourselves aside, our own thoughts aside, and say, you know what, it doesn't matter, I'm going to believe God for this. And but this is what I said in the chapter 2. When we dare to believe, God takes note. He is watching. He hears those prayers. He bends down to listen. So when you decide to take that step of faith, when you exercise those faith muscles, God notices. Okay? And yeah, so in a year, she had her little boy, just like you read in the chapter. And I don't know about you, but my daughter has this little thing she likes to do. And sometimes, we just did it like yesterday morning or something. She crawls in bed in the morning with me, and she wants me to pull up Facebook and pull out the album on Facebook that has like the pictures of her when she was a baby. And she loves for me to look through those pictures and tell her stories about what we were doing in those pictures and where we lived and who her friends were and who my friends were. And she wants to know everything. She wants to hear everything. And I can imagine if this mom, this Shunammite woman, was anything like you and I, she probably laid in bed at night or in the morning and telling her little boy stories of how for years she prayed for him. For years she dreamed of what he would look like. Like seriously, it's giving me goosebumps just thinking about her telling him these things because he was a miracle. And some of you have miracle babies and children. And some of you are waiting for a miracle baby. And I hope that she encourages you. Her story, she stands in the hall of faith, in the great cloud of witnesses, standing there saying, believe, just do it, believe. I saw miracles with my own eyes, you can too. That's what she's saying to us. But anyway, so her little boy probably grew up knowing that he was a miracle. And one day he's helping his dad, because that's what little boys do. And he was helping his dad in the fields, and he became sick, very sick. And his dad sent him back to his mother, like, fix this. Because in addition to being moms, sometimes we are doctors and nurses too, whatever hat is necessary at the time. So she does everything she knows to do, holds him till his last breath, and he dies. Her little miracle child died. Like, if that's not the ending that's not the ending any of us were looking for. That's definitely not the ending she was looking for. And I can imagine that she was probably on the verge of losing her mind and thinking, why did I even believe for this? What kind of miracle is this? What kind of God am I serving? But she didn't stay there. She didn't stop on those thoughts. If she had those thoughts, she kicked them out really fast. And that's what we have to do too. So anyway, she left him on the bed, Elisha's bed, where she had this like mother-in-law's prophet's chamber for Elisha. And she left the little boy who had passed away. She left him on that bed. And she sent for Elisha. And she didn't. She went to get Elisha. And when she got there, his servant came out and she was like, no, I need to talk to Elisha. And Elisha was like, well, go do this. And maybe you've heard from doctors or friends or family, hey, you should do this. Go do this. And okay. People, good advice, well-meaning advice. But let me tell you something. This lady did not leave until Elisha came with her. She refused to go home with half a miracle. She refused to believe for anything but complete and utter healing for her son. Miraculous, like resurrection from the dead. That's what she was believing for. Her faith muscles were strong. She had seen it happen in her womb, and she was ready for it to happen again. And she refused to budge. And this is the point from this lady that I want you to get. Even now, when your situation looks hopeless, refuse to budge. Do not waver in your faith. Believe every single day. Pray. Never stop. Refuse to budge. Do not back down for a second, because your miracle is worth it. And this lady's miracle was worth it too. And so Elisha came, and her child was raised from the dead. This lady saw it happen in her own house. Talk about the stories they told at Christmas and Thanksgiving after that. I mean, family dinners around the table. Remember that day. Remember that day when we felt like everything was lost. So if that's you, if you're in a situation where you feel like there's no hope for this situation, I pray that you will find strength and encouragement from this lady to remember that even though it may seem lost, everything may seem lost, you know the God who is capable of bringing the dead back to life and who has done it on many occasions. And whatever you are believing for, don't stop, don't give up, don't back down. I hope that this study has been a blessing to you. I hope that while you've read the chapters, I hope that you could picture these women not just as names on a page anymore. I hope that you could picture them standing in a heavenly crowd watching you and cheering you on, yes, but hoping in their hearts that their stories will be an example of faith for you to believe too. And if anything I have prayed that I could be just a speakerphone for these women, to tell you their stories, to remind you that they were women just like us, moms, some of them. But they struggled with faith, they struggled with having faith, and yet in every circumstance, they saw supernatural things happen. And you can too, because we serve a super God.